Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to Jakob Lykkegaard.
Thank you. So yeah, I will start out a bit with talking a little bit about myself, not too much, and then after I will go through the current status of the company and then how we actually got all the way there. So to explain a little bit about myself, I'm 26 years old Dane. I've been 5 years plus in Bangkok, and I'm a serial entrepreneur and mentor. My last startup was a company called PageMotor doing custom Facebook pages that I then sold to webs.com and Vistaprint. After that time, I started looking around in Thailand of what else to do because I love the country, I love the ecosystem. Everything around it is like a small family. So I started investing into different startups and fun ideas, and one of them was actually together with my partner Thomas, a gaming company that we could take over from that point. So I call myself the co-founder in the VD40 because I'm the guy that goes in and makes everything a little bit smooth through the productions when there's clashes and everything else. But to take you to a current status of where we are at Pocket PlayLab, in this year we are estimating to bring in around $20 million in revenues throughout our games. We're based in Bangkok, Singapore, and Hong Kong, with Bangkok being the only production. We have around 22 million downloads across 5 mobile titles, where one of them being bigger. You'll hear about that later. With around, our game development team is 40 people from 10 different nationalities. We will hit around 50 next month. If you look at us maybe 3 or 4 months ago, I think we would be half of that size. So it's really rapid expanding. Lately, we're hiring a lot of people and growing a lot, opening new offices around the world as well. So lately, we also opened a new 1,000 square meter office and play space in Bangkok. We have a lot of awesome events, including Unity was there last week to speak, and doing a lot for the local community to bring people in, to bring them together. Also because the gaming scene in Bangkok is not the biggest. It is still bigger than Cambodia, as you heard before, but we need to find a place to bring all those people together, let them mingle, and get the entire community up. Because we are fighting with the big guys in the US on the same platform and everywhere else. And if we can raise the entire volume of the Thai market, the Thai education within gaming, it will also benefit us. So our team, as with the 10 nationalities, is maybe 60% Thai, 40% foreigners. Where we are most in on the foreigner side is for back-end scaling, because we have millions of users playing the game every day. And if we look around in Thailand, there's very little knowledge about that size of the servers. But where Thailand is really good, and what I see in Southeast Asia, is that the creative side, the art side, everything there is just amazing. So it's a good flip to get around. But it haven't all been like this. So I'll take you a little bit through of how it all started. So we started March 2012 with an ex-Game Duel team of 13. Game Duel is German. It's a good German gaming company with a few hundred people in Berlin, and they had an outsourcing studio in Thailand that we could actually take over. Neither Thomas or me at that point had ever made any games before, and also the team that we took over has been mainly focused on Facebook games, so no mobile experience. We started in a small townhouse on Soi 7 in Bangkok with a fully self-funded company. You can see the company out on the left side. That was like our townhouse building. We even had people living on the top when game developers, they came from out of town, or a lot of our staff had to travel a far away, so we actually gave a few rooms that they could stay on the top. Then we had like a kitchen and a playroom, where in the top left corner here, you can see actually what was our maid's room. Before there was a maid living in there. We made it into our office with 3 people sitting inside, very cramped together. On the left side here, you see our kitchen. If you look below the iMac cases, that's actually like the suction out for the kitchen pop. That was our game designer sitting in there, 4 people. So it was really crammed together, but also a lot of fun to sit in that space compared to what we have now. But we started out by being, okay, they have done being Facebook games, we've been on the business side, how do we combine that? and how do we make a game? So that's the first question that everybody should ask themselves if they're going into game development, of course. So we started out with a game and spent 3 months production on a game called Trash the Teacher, where you would flip all types of trash at your teacher to freak her out and get her to jump out of the window and explode. It took those 3 months. We made a whooping $706 till day's date. And it was really a complete disaster. Like, it was done in Flash because we've been talking with some people before, and the team had knowledge in Flash. We knew that, okay, Flash is going into mobile, this will be fine. So our art and development team was separated on different floors and didn't really talk together. But at the point where most of the game actually worked, and we needed to get all the animations in and everything else, we figured out that, okay, 80% of what we just done in the art, animation, everything else will never fit into this game. So the game was crashing. It was not done true enough of what we were doing. And we actually, lately, while growing now, secretly pulled it off the App Store to not show anybody else our dirty past. So after this, we learned a bit more about how to make a game. We found an awesome platform called Unity and made our first title on that. But what we also needed to know was, okay, by putting a game on the App Store is not enough. So we went to, how do we make a viral game? Because we've been looking into the top list, looking at all the top free apps and seeing how many downloads that they got out of nowhere. And we were like, okay, what are these guys doing? How can we do something that's similar to that? At that time, there was a small game called Slow that was popular. And we actually made our own version of that called Lost Cubes, which is a small puzzle game where you have to connect all the cubes throughout it. We figured out that if you just get enough of downloads, you will become very popular. And we are also in a mindset that if we just do something in great quality, everybody will notice and download. So people loved the game. All our friends played it a lot. They loved how it looked and everything else. But what we figured out was that downloads are not enough. We made around $25,000 on the game on the first year on launch, which is not bad, not good. The problem was that to get it up on the list, we also spent $40,000 in ads. So after a few failures of everything we've been through, we were like, we know we have a great team. We know we can do great quality, but how the hell do we afford to make another game? Because at this point, we've been spending around $500,000 of our own money. We did exits before, but at that point, you can really feel that you are hitting the ground and didn't really have enough money to contain and continue paying salaries for the 20 guys that we had at that point. So we were like, okay, we can't do this on our own. We need some investors in. So we contacted a lot of investors, especially in Japan and in Singapore, and talked to around 30 of them. Every single one of them turned us down. They didn't believe in us. They didn't do the gaming part. Some parts of it was because some of them been developing, been paying or investing into console games before. That died off. Then we came into Facebook game. That died off, and now we're like, yeah, come, invest in mobile games, give her your money. We don't really have the full track record, but we have this amazing team. And people were just like, no. So 30 investor pitches later, and not even a second meeting with them. We were putting down low valuations, selling it good, not asking for that much, but it was just no way to go. So we were like, okay, we have this top grossing list of people actually figuring out how to make a lot of money. What is it that they do so different? What do all of these people do to get to that top list? And how are these games different from what we're doing? Because we can see that a lot of them we can beat on quality, but there must be something else. So we started out by looking at them and figuring out, okay, to get on this list, you need a monetizing game. You need a monetizing game that per every single user going into the game, there'll be a big enough percentage of those spending money to be able to afford the marketing to push through it. So every single one of these are also spending a lot of money on marketing. So they're not just putting it out and hoping, oh, we made Candy Crush, we put it live, and then it blew up to become millions of downloads. They spend millions every month to pushing through the marketing, and the only reason they can keep doing that is because the game is monetizing. So if the game is monetizing per user and you're making a few dollars per user, you can spend 1.5 getting them a higher. So what we went into next is like, how do we do a monetizing game then? Because we can do all the rest, we can do the quality, still feel like we had an awesome team, but nobody else believed in us in the investor side. So we came up with a game we call Lost Cube Speed, which was actually, we wanted to call it Juice Cubes or Fruit Cross, we didn't really figure out what, but it was the same as Lost Cubes. It was just with new fruity characters and played in on a lot more speed mode, where you would actually do like a diamond dash, boosters, everything else, because we figured out we need to be able to sell a lot of boosters, a lot of in-app gold, everything else. We can not just sell hints like we did in Lost Cubes. So we started developing on this, came out with the prototype, had all the graphic in, but after some time we were like, this is not really working out. Like, there's just something in it that is not as fun. We cannot just add the full monetization side without having a fun gameplay in it. So without making all the artists pissed, because they spent a long time actually drawing this, and only making the developers pissed by actually cutting out off the code, we reused that graphic into a game that is now known as Juice Cubes. So Juice Cubes, we worked on for, I think, 3-4 months, and launched November 1st with Rovio Stars. See Rovio's in the end as well. We had this game on the soft launch market and actually going in trying to get some users through the game. We did it in Australia, New Zealand, Thailand, to get people on it. What we figured out is that every single one at the office was addicted, my girlfriend was addicted, people liked it. But what was even more important was that those users that we got in, I think we spent $500 in the beginning, maybe $1,000, to do some user acquisition on Facebook, actually turned into being like $500 to $1,000 a day. And we were like, okay, if we have a game where we just put in 1,000 and 2,000 comes out, what happens if we put in 1 million? So we started actually figuring out, okay, we have this engine that can generate money. We need those money to actually get them pushed through. We found that and then started pushing through on different markets. At one point, we also got contacted by publishers. I'm not naming the names of any ones before, but we turned down a few offers because we know that we have the golden goose with laying the golden eggs. We don't want to kill it, we don't want to give it out. But we also then got contacted by Rovio, and since playing those games for a long time, we love their products, everything else. We did some tough negotiations, flew to Helsinki, and actually agreed on making this Rovio Stars' first freemium game. So in some numbers, I'm not sure how much I can share, but it is on the good side of 20 million downloads now, with around 1.6 to 2 million users logging into the game every day. Retention numbers are great. Like, if people come into it, they will figure out a way to stay, and we are trying to implement a lot of new features to get them to stay in the game and continue playing. We are in iOS, Android, Kindle, and Facebook. We'll also looking into more Asian markets, such as KakaoTalk and Line, but the game is really booming and really doing well, and we can actually have a very small team maintaining it to get it up. So of course, this game meant a lot for us to get out, and it changed the entire business, because I remember, I think it took us 2 weeks from the day that we launched till actually making all those money back that we spent 2 years developing everything out. So in that time, just booming it up, like, and it's still around those levels, so we can now go out and really push through, and we can put a lot longer horizon on anything we plan to do, because we can see from the old games that we've been doing, we really need to get this done to get it out, because we need the money to pay the salaries. Where now it's like, okay, what games do we want to do over the next 3 years? How can we plan that out and further? And we still don't have any investors in that actually tell us how to do it. So what we're at now is like, how do we make a second monetizing game? Because you've done it once, You don't want to be a one-hit wonder, and everybody else we talk to now is like, yeah, you did Juice Cubes, but you cannot do it again. So we actually developed Juice Cubes on a platform that is a match-3 platform, and we like match-3 games, and if you actually looked at the top grossing list, I think at least half of those top 10 is actually match-3 games, even though they've been around for many years. So what we're looking at now is actually making new match-3 games. We just soft launched one called Jungle Cubes, which is actually based on the Puzzle and Dragons mechanic, where you can drag them around. You have the same type of blockers you have in different theme for a slightly different market. Because where we can go now is actually producing match-3 titles to fit different markets. We can do a Japanese version of a match-3 game, get a good studio in there. We can test out different mechanics on the match-3 to say, does this actually work? Is it fun, both in-house and outside? And then the best mechanics and everything we can figure out, we can develop that into a game, and we can put that out to different markets, because in the end for us, it really is about the marketing. We need to be able to buy a user, get him through the game, and then get him to spend money. And there's a lot of factors in that in gaming, and there's a lot of billion games out here. But if you have all those factors in, the people enjoy it and they keep playing, they want to continue on, you get them to monetize, and you can make a huge game. So it's soft launch in March, and we are still continuing development on it, and we'll go out to more markets later. So just to sum a little bit off of where we've been through, I want to do some lessons learned for us, because this was completely different for us in the beginning. Focus on small teams. We had mainly all the guys working on the same project in the beginning. That meant that they had to be separated on 2 different floors. There's a lot of people interacting. If you do it in small teams, you can actually get a lot more issues solved out and get everything else done. Also, we started by taking over a team of 13 guys because we thought that everything we'll touch will turn into gold. It's not that way. Getting in all the processes and making sure that the core of your company and the core culture in your company is there before you add in all the other guys. So focus on the small team. Focus on the top grossing. And I know Thomas will hate me for saying this because he feels it's a big secret that we really learned in a hard way. Like, we looked at all those freemium games on the top 3 grossing charts, was like, how do we make one of those? Instead of actually focusing on the ones that made money. Because one thing is to make a good game, but if you're making a good game that is not making money, you can't keep doing it for very long. And it's a sad truth, but that's how the reality is today. Even also without publishers and everything else you're going through. So the last thing is focus on marketing and monetization. I've been quoted a few times for calling game developers lazy because they don't want to do their own marketing. If you look at any other industry in the entire world, if you launch any type of product, people are not just putting it on the shelf in the supermarket and not doing anything else. But that's slightly how I feel sometimes in gaming, that, yeah, we do good games, but we're not that good in marketing. Then hire a guy that is good in marketing, figure it out. We didn't know anything about buying users. We didn't know anything about monetizing. But we looked at any single one and asked around, like, okay, how do these guys buy users? They buy from a lot of different sources that will also tell you slightly about how they do. Plus, you can look into how they do the monetization and everything else in it. So where we are now is at a point where we are like, how do we make even more awesome games? Because we want to keep doing this and we love it. And we have such a great team now that we build up. But what we're also looking at is, how do we get more people to join us? How do we get more offices built up? Since we have the platform now and the culture and everything, we love it, we need to expand that out. One of the things that we've done in that is also build a brand new office in Bangkok, where we actually have, you can see the studio in the bottom, where we have people sitting. I think we can fit up to around 80 to 100 there. We're also looking at getting in more floors. Plus, we have in the left side here, what we call the play space. So the play space is a space where we have all these game developer events, like having Friday bars, putting in even companies that are our competitors, just giving them the space for free to have their speeches, to have like good sound system, nice projectors, everything else to get the people together there. Because we want to be the hub of Southeast Asia for the gaming part. We want to fly in people that are interesting, that can both teach our own developers, but also teach the entire country about how to do those game developers in the right way. Because in the end, it will help us prosper and be able to put in all that knowledge into more and more people so we can grow as well. Because what we need in the end is a lot more hands and a lot more smart people to join us and go through. That is also why I would slightly hint that we are hiring, only the best guys though, but we are hiring, and you are welcome to contact me on my email, my Twitter, my Facebook, or you can find all the awesome guys in the blue shirts. Woo! We are 5 guys here at the conference. It's 3 of the producers. So if you have any specific questions for any of our games, we have one secret project, another Jungle Cubes producer, and a Juice Cubes. So it's very interesting, and thank you.